Chapter 71 Ten-Tails Coffin Seal, Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Deidara, you little punk, get out of the way. Anoki glared at Deidara, his former student, his face red with anger. Deidara, do you even realize what you're doing? Kuratsuchi, equally frustrated, stared at Deidara, who was standing with the enemy. Deidara just grinned. Sorry, old man, Kuratsuchi. I'm helping the boss achieve his dream of uniting the ninja world. Yeah, with explosive clay in hand and a smile plastered on his face, Deidara continued to block the allied shinobi forces, whoosh, 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 whoosh star. Just then, thousands of Konoha's elite ninjas, led by Tsunade and Kakashi, arrived in front of the ten-tailed sacred tree. Their mission: stop the 100,000-strong allied shinobi forces. The allied shinobi army was massive, numbering over 100,000, even after losses inflicted by Chen Yiban, Madara Uchiha, and Izuna. They still boasted a formidable force of roughly 100,000. Meanwhile, Anoki secretly conserved chakra, gathering his strength to unleash dust release again. Facing them were Konoha's forces, including Nagato, Konan, Deidara, Haiden, and other members of Akatsuki. A mere 3,000 strong, the numbers were overwhelmingly in the alliance's favor. But then, whoosh, 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 whoosh star. Suddenly, countless white Zetsu emerged from the ground, almost 100,000 of them. These white Zetsu reinforcements joined the ranks of Konoha, instantly leveling the playing field. The battlefield was a chaotic mess. White Zetsu and Konoha ninjas were everywhere near the ten-tailed sacred tree. Opposite them stood the 100,000-strong allied shinobi forces. The desert had become a crowded war zone. Meanwhile, the two Madara Uchiha figures ignored the chaos. They relentlessly gathered natural energy from the earth and air. They then channeled it into the ten-tailed sacred tree through the wooden tube connected to its back. As a result, buds bloomed continuously on the tree's branches, including the massive eye of the moon. The red outline of the eye of the moon was becoming visible. Damn it! We can't wait any longer. Attack! Raikage AI, enraged, charged forward. Lord Raikage, your injury. Darui exclaimed, worried about Raikage's reckless advance despite his wounds. He immediately rallied the Cloud Village forces to follow him. Let's go, everyone. Anoki, Terumi Mei, Gaara, and the others also gave the signal, ordering the ninjas from their respective villages to charge. Damn you all, just die. Time's End. The allied shinobi forces weren't lacking in courage. Soon, a wave of ninjas surged forward. Ha ha ha. Let me offer you all as a sacrifice to the evil god. Haiden of Akatsuki, facing the charging 100,000-strong army, showed no fear, only wild excitement. Bring it on. Kisame Hoshigaki unwrapped Samahata, revealing a cruel, toothy grin. For Yahiko. Nagato formed hand seals, while Konan prepared to unleash her paper technique. Among the Konoha ninjas, Tsunade rolled up her sleeves, ready to unleash her incredible strength. Kakashi slowly raised his right hand, channeling lightning release into his Raikiri. Kurenai Yuhi began gathering chakra to cast illusions. Anko Mitarashi summoned countless poisonous snakes. Shikaku Nara initiated his shadow possession technique. And the Hyuga clan members activated their Byakugan, preparing to use Gentle Fist and Rotation. And then, boom, 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 star. 100,000 clashed against 100,000, the scene was utter chaos. All manner of jutsu and bloodline abilities exploded across the battlefield. Both sides suffered heavy losses. The white Zetsu were the wild card. After infiltrating the allied shinobi forces, they transformed into allied ninjas, blending in to carry out sneak attacks and assassinations. Chaos erupted within the allied forces. Paranoia started to spread among the troops. Damn it! Raikage watched helplessly as mistrust poisoned his ranks. White Zetsu's transformation was too perfect, mimicking chakra, scent, and even mannerisms. If Naruto hadn't arrived on the scene, the allied shinobi forces would have crumbled from the inside. As it was, how could a distrustful army mount any real offense? Amidst the chaos, Tsunade, Kakashi, Kurenai, and the other Konoha ninjas fought tooth and nail to protect the two Madara Uchiha figures, allowing them to focus on gathering natural energy for the blooming of the sacred tree. You won't disturb the two brothers. Mangekyo Sharingan, blood mist flying. Shura Uchiha used his Mangekyo Sharingan to its fullest extent, desperately holding back the allied assault to protect his brothers. The blood mist flying technique froze the blood of any enemy ninjas who dared approach. They fell to the ground, one after another, and then, in a flash, Shing star, the sacred tree fully bloomed, image of the eye of the moon. The eye of the moon had opened. The sky and moon turned blood red. The time has come. On the head of the Ten-Tails, Madara Uchiha's Rinnegan eyes gleamed with excitement. Then, you can begin, Chen Yiban said with a smile. You. Madara looked at Chen Yiban. You're really giving me this chance? Yep. Enough talk. Chen Yiban crossed his arms, still smiling. Madara studied Chen Yiban for a moment, then. I won't waste it, then. Madara's expression hardened, whoosh, whoosh star. Madara and Chen Yiban leaped off the top of the Ten-Tails at the same time. Brother, Shura Uchiha rushed to Chen Yiban's side as he landed. Where's the other brother? Shura asked, noticing that Madara hadn't followed Chen Yiban back to the Konoha lines. He's going to gain the ultimate power and become the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki. Chen Yiban explained, patting Izuna on the shoulder. Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki. Izuna looked confused. Meanwhile, noticing the movements of the two Madara Uchiha figures, the fighting between the ninja armies began to subside. Stop them, Tadanoki, Gaara, Terumi Mei, Reikage, and the others felt a growing unease as they saw the sacred tree blooming and the moon turning red. Madara Uchiha stood before the massive ten-tailed sacred tree, Shing star. He formed the seals for the Ten-Tails Coffin. Chapter 72 Angry Uchiha Madara Chen Yiban's Deception. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zheng, the instant Uchiha Madara completed the Ten-Tails Coffin seal, the ten-tailed sacred tree reacted violently, the massive ten-tailed god began shrinking, converging on Madara's body. Finally, it all poured into him. Once the last of the ten-tailed sacred tree was absorbed, whoosh, a gray-white six-paths coat materialized on Madara's body. His long black hair gradually turned white, his hands and feet became pitch black. 6 rows of 9 black magatama appeared on the back, sleeves, and hem of his robe. Plus, whoosh, 0.9 black orbs of seeking truth manifested behind him, sticking close. And a black six-paths staff appeared in Madara's left hand. He had transformed into the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki. Ten-Tails mode. But wait, there's more. A faint golden eyeshadow rimmed Madara's eyes, that sage mode immortal face makeup. Madara was now in 0.6 path sage mode. Or Ten-Tails sage mode. This was clearly a form surpassing the 6 paths sage mode of Uzumaki Naruto in the original story. Heh. Across the battlefield, countless ninjas stared dumbfounded at Madara in his Ten-Tails sage mode. They were all stunned, only. Ha, truly a powerful and perfect force. Chen Yiban, his 6-tomo Rinnegan wide open, murmured to himself with an excited grin. Even Chen Yiban, with his own sage mode and Rinnegan, was awestruck by the energy radiating from Madara in Ten-Tails sage mode. The power displayed in this state was simply unimaginable. But the Rinne Sharingan isn't open yet. I need to wait. Chen Yiban suppressed his eagerness, just a little longer. Then. Madara. Keep going. Seeing Madara seeming lost in admiration of his own power, Chen Yiban couldn't resist urging him on. Ah. Madara nodded, smiling excitedly, then, center stage, whoosh, he shot straight up into the sky. Facing the blood-red moon. Click. Madara, facing the blood moon, peeled off a white, horn-like ten-tails shell from his forehead. Suddenly, Zheng, the 9-tomo Rinne Sharingan opened. And at that exact moment. Now, Chen Yiban watched Madara intently. Resonance. Chen Yiban activated some ability or used some item. Zheng. The next instant, Chen Yiban's body underwent the same transformation as Madara, the black 6 paths coat with 6 rows of 9 magatama, the 9 orbs of seeking truth, the 6 paths staff, the back and hem of the sleeves. Even his hair slowly turned white. Even on his forehead, a 9-tomo Rin-e Sharingan bloomed. And the golden eyeshadow of Sage Mode floated around his eyes, highlighting the 6-tomo Rinnegan beneath the Rin-e Sharingan. Chen Yiban had also miraculously transformed into Ten-Tails Sage Mode. Even stronger than Madara, because Chen Yiban also possessed the 6-tomo Rinnegan that Madara lacked, clang. He slammed a staff into the sand. Ha 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 ha. Chen Yiban roared with laughter. Ha! In the sky, Madara, who was in almost the same pose, sensed something and looked down at Chen Yiban. How is this possible? Madara, now in Ten-Tails Sage Mode, was shocked. He didn't understand. How had he done it? Madara stared at Chen Yiban below, who was laughing and now sported almost the exact same Six Paths appearance. Madara was dumbfounded. Similarly, he can do it too. On the ground, Anoki, Tsunade, Gaara, Kakashi, Terumi Mei, the Raikage, and the others were completely confused. Who is he? Didn't Madara absorb the Ten-Tails? Why is this guy okay too? Not to mention the hundreds of thousands of ninjas, even the nearly 100,000 white Zetsu were stunned, one Ten-Tails, to create two Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki. What was going on? Brother Uchiha Izuna couldn't understand what was happening with his older brothers, but brother has become so strong. My brothers are so powerful. No matter what, his brother had obtained the ultimate power. That's what mattered most. On the other hand, Six Paths Madara, whoosh. He suddenly landed on the ground. Damn it, you already had the power of the Ten-Tails. And you hid it from me? You lied to me. Six Paths Madara was inexplicably furious. Had he only been superior for a fleeting moment? Unforgivable. Ha, Six Paths Chen Yiban said with a helpless smile. Okay, Madara, I wasn't hiding anything. This is a unique spacetime resonance ability that I have. Simply put, I can resonate with your power in this spacetime, so what you have, I can also have. However, once activated, it can't be used again for 3 years. And it can't be used twice on the same person. Chen Yiban chuckled. Such a technique exists. Madara, as well as countless ninjas who overheard, were shocked, but in reality, this was something Chen Yiban had gotten from the system's daily draws over the past 10 days, because the system's daily draws had no level restrictions. You could instantly reach the top or get nothing. This so-called spacetime resonance was actually template resonance. Chen Yiban had Uchiha Madara's combat power template, so he could resonate. However, the same Uchiha Madara could only resonate with Chen Yiban's combat power once. Furthermore, there was a 3-year cooldown. Humph. So you took advantage of me. Madara raised his staff, pointing it at Chen Yiban. Come on, don't be childish. I'm you and you're me. Why keep score? Chen Yiban coaxed with a smile. We're the only ones who can truly be honest with each other and understand each other. Right? Chen Yiban continued his deception. Chapter 73 Two Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki, the Ninja Alliance that is completely unable to resist. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, so now there are two Ten-Tail Jinchuuriki running around. Two guys rocking the Ten-Tails Sage Mode, no less. Humph. Madara scoffed, still not impressed despite being in Ten-Tails Sage Mode himself. Meanwhile, Chen Yiban was practically buzzing with excitement. This power. Madara, doesn't this feel amazing? He looked down at the Six Paths coat, grinning like a kid in a candy store. The power. I'm magnitude stronger. This isn't just being a Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki, this is Ten-Tails Sage Mode. It's a cocktail of unwavering will to unite the ninja world, the raw power of all the tailed beasts, Sage Mode, and a destiny practically screaming for unification. Both Chen Yiban and Madara had reached a whole new level. This mode isn't something you train for, it chooses you. It's got the same juice as Naruto's Six Paths Sage Mode back in the day. Unbelievable. Chen Yiban felt like he could wipe the floor with his old self. The power was intoxicating. Madara, however, was a bit salty. Yeah, it was great until I had to look at you. But... He paused. I guess I can see where you're coming from. Just as Chen Yiban was about to lay it on thick, Madara had a change of heart. After all, Chen Yiban did give him the chance to absorb the Ten-Tails sacred tree. And Chen Yiban only used the template resonance at the very last second of Madara's success. It wasn't like he stole any of Six Paths Madara's power. It was a win-win, really, so, despite his initial grumbling, Madara quickly got over it. Like you said, we're the only ones who can truly be honest with each other, who truly understand. Madara's lips curled into a slow smile as he looked at Chen Yiban, now sporting the same Six Paths getup. Ha! Chen Yiban chuckled, then reached out a hand to Madara, and with that, the two Six Paths Madaras locked hands, finally seeing eye to eye. All around them, the Ninja Alliance was freaking out. Okay, what the heck are we supposed to do now? Mizukage Tsurumi asked, forcing a weak smile. Two Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki had just shown up. The original Madara, let alone his Ninja Alliance, was already more than they could handle. Now, this? Seriously? Gaara, Inoki, even the usually hot-headed Raikage AI were speechless, staring at the two Six Paths Madaras in stunned silence. The Ninja Coalition, now down to about 80,000, stood there in shock, helplessness, and despair, each one lost for words. Tsunade, watching from the Konoha side, gritted her teeth with a bitter smile as she took in the sight of Chen Yiban and Madara, practically mirror images. Chen Yiban's rapid power-ups were getting ridiculous. First, he was so strong that he made the entire Konoha ninja feel despair. Then, he strong-armed Tsunade into transplanting her grandfather's cells into him, and he suddenly would release powers, just like Hashirama, and then, he got the Rinnegan, and now, he's absorbed the Ten-Tails divine tree and become so strong she can't even sense his chakra. Tsunade couldn't even fathom how powerful he was now. The two identical Uchiha Madaras, clad in Six Paths robes, with flowing white hair, holding the Six Paths Shikujo, and the 9 black Magatama floating behind them, and most importantly, the 9 Tomo Rinne Sharingan blazing on their foreheads. It was terrifying. Tsunade didn't even dare to think about fighting back. It looked like the ninja world was about to be unified, whether they liked it or not. That's what Tsunade thought, anyway. Big brother. Uchiha Izuna, looking utterly astonished, ran up to his two brothers. Big brother, you. He was too excited to even speak, staring at the two Six Paths Madaras. He couldn't sense their chakra anymore. He had no idea what kind of power they now possessed. Izuna, go rest for a while. The rest is up to us. Madara stepped forward and gently patted Izuna's shoulder. Then, he glanced back at Chen Yiban. Chen Yiban nodded. The next second, the two Six Paths Madaras floated into the sky together, leaving Izuna staring in awe. Finally, they hovered in front of the remaining 80,000 Ninja Alliance members, gazing down with their all-seeing eyes. So, are you really planning to take us on like this? Six Paths Chen Yiban sneered, his lavender 6 Tomo Rinnegan blazing and the crimson 9 Tomo Rinne Sharingan pulsing on his forehead. He couldn't imagine what strength or confidence the Ninja Alliance still possessed. Did they really want to throw their lives away? Damn it! Raikage AI growled, looking up at the two figures with pure hatred. Do we really have to keep fighting? Tsurumi, already demoralized, couldn't bring herself to continue fighting. Gaara, Inoki, and even Raikage AI fell silent. If it were just them, they'd fight to the death, but what about the 80,000 allied ninjas, the soldiers who followed them from their respective villages? Could they really throw away the lives of their people on this battlefield? A single Madara, without even becoming the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki, had already caused massive casualties with his Susanoo and would release. Now, there were two Madaras, both in the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki form. How could they possibly resist? Keep dancing until you die, or pledge your allegiance to us. Make your choice. Six Paths Madara said coldly, brandishing his Six Paths Shikujo at the 80,000 ninja coalition below. Chapter 74, All Nations Surrender, the ninja world will be unified. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As Madara Uchiha, juiced up in Ten-Tails Sage mode, issued his ultimatum, the 80,000 ninjas of the allied shinobi forces exchanged nervous glances. Movies were the last thing on their minds. Inoki, Meitarumi, Gaara, and the other Kage wanted to speak, but hesitated, clinging to some last, desperate sliver of hope. Madara saw right through it. Still hoping for a miracle, huh? Then allow me, Uchiha Madara, to give you a taste of true despair. That a smug smirk crept across his face. Then, as Chen Yiban calmly watched, Madara declared, Heavenly Obstacle Jinshin, that with his lavender Rinnegan and the red, 9-tomo Rin-S Sharingan blazing, Madara began weaving hand signs. Ha! Chen Yiban, knowing what Madara was about to do, chuckled. He couldn't wait to see the look on the Ninja Alliance's faces. This was gonna be good. He's weaving signs. What's he up to? Panic started spreading through the ranks of the Alliance before anything even happened. Damn it, Inoki muttered, staring at the two identical figures in the sky. He realized, to his horror, that he didn't even dare fly up to meet them eye to eye. Everyone, brace yourselves. Gaara warned the troops. Just then, the sky began to darken. Huh? Why's it suddenly getting so dark? Some of the ninjas instinctively craned their necks, looking up past Madara and Chen Yiban. Then, their eyes widened, utter shock and disbelief. That's... Inoki, Gaara, Meitarumi, and the Raikage looked up and saw the thing blotting out the sun. For a moment, they were speechless with terror. Boom star. A massive meteorite, easily exceeding 10,000 meters in size, burst through the clouds and hung above them. It's bigger than the one he dropped on Konoha. On the Konoha side, Tsunade, Kakashi, Hinata, Kurenai, and countless other Konoha ninjas stared in disbelief. The meteorite was so enormous it was almost impossible to take in. The one Madara had summoned over Konoha had only been a few hundred meters across. Even that had sent the entire village into a panic, but this was a whole different ballgame. We're not even playing the same game, Temari from the Hidden Sand Village said, echoing the classic line with a look of utter bewilderment. Inoki, Raikage, Gaara, and Terumi Mei were all gaping, completely at a loss for words. Clang star, weapons slipped from the hands of countless ninjas and clattered to the ground. Ha ha ha. There's no way we can stop that. The ninjas stared up at the giant space rock, and a wave of despair washed over them. Boom, 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 star. The supersized meteorite was slowly descending. Even before it completely fell, the crushing pressure made the 80,000 ninjas unsteady on their feet. Enough. Madara. Finally, Inoki stepped forward and shouted at the two six-paths Madara in the sky. Then, in a defeated tone, we surrender. With those words, Inoki seemed to deflate, his head drooping in despair. He had chosen to surrender to the two six-paths Madaras. It seemed like a choice, but it was the only one he could make. There was no way 80,000 ninjas could fight Two Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki Madaras who had absorbed the Ten-Tails and become impossibly powerful. Old man. Kuratsuchi and Huangta glanced at Inoki. They hadn't expected him to cave, but they understood. Those two Uchiha Madaras were beyond anything human. Looking up at the meteorite still blotting out the sky, they knew it was over. Congratulations. You have secured the surrender of the Earth Country, IWA Ninja Village, and unlocked a super achievement. Reward, Super Achievement Lottery X1. Current lottery inventory, Elementary Achievement Lottery, 356x. Moderate Achievement Lottery, 17x. Super Achievement Lottery, 1x. When the Tsuchikage, Inoki, bowed his head, Chen Yiban saw the system notification that only he could see. Just like when Tsunade had surrendered in Konoha, as long as the village's leader gave in, the system registered a successful conquest. Ha! 6 paths Madara and 6 paths Chen Yiban smirked. Seeing Inoki's surrender, countless ninjas from Iwagakure village dropped their weapons. The Hidden Stone village had completely surrendered. Seeing this, the ninjas from the other 3 major villages, as well as those from smaller countries, looked towards Gaara, Terumi Mei, Raikage, and the other leaders. Mist Village ninjas, lay down your weapons, Mizukage. Terumi Mei said with a resigned smile. Mizukage-sama. Chojuro glanced at her, but in the end, he obeyed the order and dropped his sword. Then, almost all the ninjas in the Hidden Mist Village followed suit. After that, Gaara bowed his head. Immediately, the Sunagakure village ninjas followed, throwing down their blades and ninja tools. Many ninjas from Iwagakure, Kirigakure, and Sunagakure villages breathed a sigh of relief. The meteorite in the sky had stopped descending. Soon after, the leaders of smaller countries like Grass, Iron, and Waterfall all wisely surrendered. Chen Yiban was racking up the system notifications. Apparently, the reward for conquering a small country was only a high-level achievement lottery. The Big Five were the real prize. Finally, the alliance was down to one country, the hidden cloud village of the Land of Lightning, the Raikage. His stubborn nature made him unwilling to give in. So, the choice of the Land of Lightning and the hidden cloud village is death. Chen Yiban, holding his six-path staff, sneered, his Rinnegan fixed on Raikage AI. Chapter 75, Unification of the Ninja World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Six Paths. Chen Yiban's three eyes narrowed with coldness. Gripping the six-path staff, he stared down from mid-air at the Thunder Shadow, AI, amidst the crowd from Cloud-hidden village below. A massive meteorite, summoned by Six Paths Madara, still hung in the air, casting a psychological shadow over the countless members of the Ninja Alliance. If that monster, a meteorite over 10,000 meters wide, actually fell, who could possibly survive? When Six Paths Chen Yiban posed his question, Raikage AI, after a long, silent struggle, reluctantly waved his hand, signaling the cloud-hidden ninjas behind him to lower their weapons. A collective sigh of relief swept through the ranks of the Kumogakure ninjas. They'd been terrified that their Raikage would lead them into a suicidal battle against Two Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki and Uchiha Madara. How could they possibly win? Even before he became the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki, Uchiha Madara had nearly wiped out the entire Ninja Alliance. Now there were two of them, Madara amplified with the power of the Ten-Tails. It was surrender or die. Sure, some in Cloud-hidden village weren't afraid of death, but not everyone shared that sentiment. Most of the Kumogakure ninjas desperately hoped their Raikage would choose to back down. He couldn't just lead the village's elite into a pointless massacre, right? Taking on Two Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki and Madara was basically suicide. Lord Raikage. Even ambitious guys like Darui and Omoi, in the end, made the rational choice to drop their weapons and ninja tools. Surrender it was. Just then. Congratulations. You have conquered the Kingdom of Thunder / Cloud-hidden village and achieved a super achievement. You have received Super Achievement Lottery X1. Congratulations. You have conquered the 5 great nations and 5 great hidden villages and achieved a special heavenly achievement. You have received Achievement Lottery X1. Congratulations. You have surrendered the Ninja Alliance and achieved a super achievement. You have received Super Achievement Lottery X1. Your current number of various draws: elementary achievement draws, 356. Moderate achievement draws, 17. High achievement lottery, 8. Super achievement lottery, 5. Lucky draw for excellent achievements, 1. System notifications flooded in. Excellent. A joyful smile crept across Chen Yiban's face. It was easy to misinterpret that he was simply pleased by Cloud-hidden village's surrender. A wise choice. Lu Daoban echoed, a slow smile spreading across his face. However. Hold on. Raikage AI suddenly raised a hand, pointing at the two Uchiha Madaras in the sky. Cloud-hidden village has surrendered, but I am still the Raikage, and I want to fight you. Even if it costs me my life. Raikage was actually challenging the two Six Paths Madaras, even knowing it would likely mean his death. But Karabi, and all the Cloud-hidden ninjas who had fallen, Raikage declared, Cloud-hidden village can surrender. But as Raikage, he had no choice but to fight. In response. A foolish choice. Six Paths Madara, who had just praised the Raikage, now issued this backhanded compliment. But, you have guts. Six Paths Madara countered. Interesting. Lu Dao Chen Yiban chuckled. Lord Raikage. Anoki, Gaara, and Mei Terumi all looked at the Raikage, urging him to reconsider. There was no need to insist on a path that led to certain death. Meanwhile, the Cloud-hidden ninja stared at Raikage AI in disbelief. My mind is made up. The Raikage stubbornly declared. Listen up, ninjas of Cloud-hidden village. Even if I fall in battle, you are not to resist. Don't let the entire village be wiped out for nothing. Reikage looked back at the Kumogakure ninjas behind him and gave his order. Without waiting for a response from the cloud-hidden ninjas, he shouted. Let's go. You think you can take me? Leaping forward, Reikage AI pointed at the two Uchiha Madaras in the air and roared. Witnessing this scene, some ninjas couldn't help but admire the Reikage's defiance in the face of death. Still, he's got nerve. But, it's pointless. In the air, under the ten-tailed sage mode, Chen Yiban's three eyes were filled with contempt. In the next instant. Eye of the Moon, Heavenly Royal Center. Chen Yiban in ten-tailed sage mode, the red, 9 Magatama Rinne Sharingan, on his forehead, burst into power. Zheng. The next moment, Reikage vanished into thin air, leaving the countless ninjas present in shock. What the? Reikage. What just happened? How is this possible? Reikage had been instantly transported to another dimension by Chen Yiban using the power of the Rinne Sharingan, leaving them stunned. Damn it! Anoki looked dazed. He was shocked by the power of the two Uchiha Madaras, but at the same time, he was grateful that he hadn't led Iwagakure into a fight with the two Uchiha Madaras. Otherwise, he'd end up like the Reikage, dead before he even knew what hit him. Kenkuro. Gaara and Temari sadly lowered their heads. Their opponents were so powerful they were beyond human comprehension, and the two siblings had no chance to avenge the ninjas of Sunigakure who had fallen. Like Kenkuro and Maki, you have slain Reikage AI, and received a high-level achievement draw. It's over, Chen Yiban said coldly. Hashirama, my dream, can finally come true, ten-tailed sage mode Madara murmured, overcome with emotion. Next. Immediately, ten-tailed sage Madara glanced at the 10,000-meter giant meteorite still floating in the sky. The next second, the black hand holding the six-path staff suddenly swung, striking the staff. Zhenghu. An invisible force pushed the meteorite out of the planet's orbit and back into deep space. At the same moment. 3 months. I will give you 3 months to return to your respective countries and villages and gather all the ninjas and civilians, and bring them to the original land of fire, Konoha. Let the ninja world achieve complete unification. After 3 months, anyone from any country or village, regardless of size, who hasn't arrived, will be killed. In ten-tailed sage mode, Chen Yiban's 6 Magatama Rinnegan eyes, plus 9 Magatama Rinnegan Sharingan, were filled with coldness as he gazed down at the countless members of the coalition forces below. This ultimatum, dripping with murderous intent. Thus, over the next 3 months, the entire ninja world underwent a complete transformation. The so-called 5 great nations, or any other nations or villages, ceased to exist. In the end, only one country remained in the entire ninja world. An unprecedented superstate, uniting all countries and villages under the control of the 2 strongest men. Chapter 76 All Dharmas Unify. The entire ninja world becomes banned starting space. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 months later, after the news broke, no one in the ninja world dared to stand against the 2 Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki Madaras. Everyone, including ninjas from the Land of Waves, Rain Village, and even civilians who'd never been part of the Ninja Alliance, flocked to Konoha, the Land of Fire, and submitted to the rule of the 2 Uchiha Madaras. It felt like practically every ninja and civilian in the world was now crammed into the Land of Fire. Within 3 months, the Fire Country became incredibly crowded and chaotic. Anyone foolish enough to resist unification found themselves facing Uchiha Izuna and the Akatsuki, the ninjas of the 5 great nations, or even the 2 Madaras themselves. Dissatisfaction was met with swift and brutal action. No negotiations, just straight-up elimination. Chen Yiban and Uchiha Madara had one unwavering goal: total unification of the ninja world. No dissent, no opposition would be tolerated. They weren't interested in persuasion or peace talks. They either handled the problem personally or unleashed the 5 nations ninjas to do the dirty work, no questions asked, and that's how it happened. 3 months later, the ninja world was truly united. All nations and villages converged on the Land of Fire, with Konoha as the heart, and expansion in every direction followed. Gradually, a single, unified supernation emerged in the ninja world, and everyone knew. This super kingdom had 2 leaders. Two identical beings. Uchiha Madara. Later, still perched atop the Hokage building in Konoha, Chen Yiban surveyed the sprawling supernation below and finally cracked a satisfied smile. Then, a message popped up. Congratulations. You have achieved unification of the ninja world, a heavenly feat. Reward, achievement lottery ticket, heavenly, X1. Current lottery ticket count, basic achievement, 725. Moderate achievement, 33. High achievement, 14. Super achievement, 6. Unparalleled achievement, 2. Seeing the system notification, Chen Yiban's smile widened. A heavenly lottery. Gotta admit, I'm hyped for this. He chuckled to himself, then, mentally addressing the system, he said, let's see what kind of prize this so-called heavenly achievement lottery holds for me. Time to roll. He spoke as if to thin air. The system responded. Heavenly achievement lottery initiated. Processing. Congratulations. You have acquired, primordial space, ninja world. Transforms the entire ninja world into the starting realm of your Eye of the Moon. Allows you to extract chakra from every being in the ninja world at any time. With system assistance, you can access and extract chakra even when in other dimensions. Congratulations. You have acquired, unification of all things. Purifies, optimizes, and normalizes all forms of energy within you, converting them into your own personal power. Chen Yiban's eyebrows shot up as he read the results. Not bad. Turning the entire ninja world into a personal energy farm and being able to siphon off chakra even across dimensions. Turning the whole world into his personal cow. And unification of all things, purifying and integrating all his powers into one harmonious whole. That's exactly what he needed. He thought of the Ten-Tails power within him. While he was the Jinchuuriki, that power wasn't entirely his. The wills of the Ten-Tails and even the Bijou still lingered. He recalled Kaguya Otsutsuki in the original storyline, and how Naruto's Raisin Shuriken, infused with Bijou chakra, resonated with the tailed beasts inside her, destabilizing her. The power of Indra, Asura, and even Hashirama resided within him as well. He still bore the faces of Asura and Hashirama that had been grafted onto his chest. Full purification would make his power truly his own and remove those lingering presences. It would eliminate all the hidden risks within him. He nearly shouted, integrate now. But then he remembered the rest of his lottery tickets. He should exhaust his draws before using unification of all things. He might pull something else beneficial to incorporate, so, unification of all things would be his final act. Looking down at the countless ninjas and civilians inhabiting his supernation, Chen Yiban commanded the system to begin integrating primordial space, ninja world. ****. Chen Yiban, still in his Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki form, felt a violent reaction with the Eye of the Moon on his forehead. It was forming a contract with the entire ninja world. Finally, the contract was sealed. Ha 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 ha. Lu Dao Chen Yiban threw his head back and roared with laughter. This is invigorating. He felt like a god, able to control life and death within this world. He could steal power from anyone, anytime. As long as someone was within this dimension, their fate was in Chen Yiban's hands. ****. A figure appeared behind 6 Paths Chen Yiban. Orochimaru reporting to Madara-sama, that it was none other than Orochimaru, the chilling lord who had once been as famous as Tsunade and Jiraiya. He cowered behind Chen Yiban, bowing respectfully. Madara-sama, I have completed the task you both assigned me. The souls are ready to be retrieved from the Shinigami. Heh. Orochimaru, whose hands were nearly useless, smiled up at Chen Yiban. 6 Paths Chen Yiban, with the 6 Magatama Rinnegan, and 9 Magatama Rinne Sharingan, on his forehead, glanced back. The sheer power emanating from the eyes froze Orochimaru's smile. Madara. Madara-sama. Staring at the 3 eyes filled with terrifying power, Orochimaru felt his heart pound. Find the other me. When the time comes. Kurama, will fuse, too. 6 Paths Chen Yiban said coldly, his gaze averted. because every major country and village in the ninja world had surrendered and come to Konoha, the country of fire, including Orochimaru's Sound Ninja village. Orochimaru himself also stayed in the super nation now led by the two Uchiha Madaras. Chapter 77, A country belonging to two. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Half a month later, the super nations led by the two Madaras were expanding and stabilizing. One was becoming a true superpower. Meanwhile, Orochimaru managed to snag the souls of the past Hokage from the Grim Reaper. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, had the Yin half of Kurama sealed inside him. When Minato was reincarnated using impure world reincarnation, Madara controlled him with his black rods. Without a moment for sentimental reunions with Hashirama, Madara broke the seal, ripped out the Yin Kurama, and absorbed it himself. Now, Madara possessed the complete power of all the tailed beasts. Hashirama! Madara exclaimed, eyes locked on his old rival, also resurrected. Madara. Hashirama looked on in shock at Madara's new form. Tobarama, Hiruzen, and the mind-controlled Minato were equally stunned. Madara grinned, Hashirama, my dream has come true. His power surged from his three eyes, shaking the resurrected Hokage to their cores. Another month passed. Chen Yiban had nearly exhausted his lottery chances, even converting most of the basic draws into advanced ones. Here's the breakdown. Basic achievement draws, 725, converted to 7 advanced draws, moderate achievement draws, 33, converted to 3 advanced draws, advanced achievement draws, 24, converted to 2 super draws. This left him with 8 super achievement draws. The results. Kurama, 9 tails. Mangekyo Sharingan, double Kamui. Uchiha Madara's Mangekyo Sharingan. Kurama, 9 tails. The Ten-Tails Shell, demonic statue of the outer path. Indra plus a portion of Asura's power x5, sealing power from the Naruto world plus seal immunity. Shikaku, 1 tail. Chen Yiban used all 8 super draws at once. Truthfully, the rewards weren't that useful to him anymore. He first fused the drawn Kurama with the half already inside him, completing the Ten-Tails, even surpassing its initial state. Now he had half of Yang Kurama plus the power of a complete Kurama. Next, he merged the Naruto world sealing power with its seal immunity. From then on, no sealing technique in any Naruto timeline could affect him. In fact, he could seal others. After this, Chen Yiban wasn't impressed with the rest. He already had Kamui. He had 6 Tomo Rinnegan and even 9 Tomo Rinne Sharingan. The demonic statue of the outer path. Shikaku. More of Indra and Asura's power. Meh, take it or leave it. Chen Yiban decided to give them to Izuna. He performed another eye transplant with Tsunade, replacing Izuna's eyes with Madara's Mangekyo Sharingan. Within days, Izuna's Sharingan evolved into a fully matured form. Madara was perplexed. Why does the Sharingan react to my eye power? Chen Yiban thought, duh, I just gave Izuna another pair of your Mangekyo Sharingan. Really? What a coincidence, he replied, feigning surprise. You jerk. Fine, keep your secrets. Madara grumbled. Tsunade always gave her best during these procedures, grateful that Chen Yiban had resurrected Nawaki. Furthermore, Hashirama had been resurrected soon after obtaining Yin Kurama. A group of white Zetsu used a forbidden jutsu at the cost of over a dozen lives to revive him. When Izuna was getting his eyes changed, Hashirama was present. Plus, because Konoha's ninja had fought admirably during the Ninja Alliance, Chen Yiban kept his word and revived several deceased Konoha shinobi, like Asuma, Might Guy, Heiate Gecko, and Yugao Yuzuki. With each resurrection, Tsunade's animosity toward the two Madaras faded until it practically disappeared. Later, Chen Yiban thought about using the demonic statue of the outer path to cultivate low-level, mindless white Zetsu, specifically for resurrecting the dead to serve as his pawns when needed. He began combining the statue with Hashirama's cells to create these low-level, self-aware white Zetsu. During this time, Chen Yiban also used all creation transformation. Instantly, Every ability within him became his own true power. The will of the tailed beasts was extinguished. Chen Yiban was no longer merely a Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki, he was the Ten-Tails. Unlike Kagaya, Chen Yiban wouldn't be caught off guard by Naruto's tailed beast Raisin Shuriken. The faces of Hashirama and Azura disappeared from his chest, completely assimilated into his being. 6 months later, Uchiha Sasuke, calling himself Chen Yiban's disciple, returned, wielding a matured Sharingan like Izuna. Chen Yiban officially accepted Sasuke as his student and gave him and Izuna some of Azura and Indra's power. Over the next 3 years, with the help of the two Madaras, both Izuna and Sasuke unlocked the Rinnegan. And those 3 years saw the countries under the two Madaras' rule growing and prospering. The land of fire was starting to feel crowded. Chen Yiban borrowed power from 6 Paths Madara and even extracted chakra from most of the ninja world, transforming the land of winds desert into a green paradise. With enough chakra and eye power, Chen Yiban could change anything in the world. The desolate desert was now a perfect place to live. The world was amazed by Chen Yiban's power and grew more reverent towards the two Madaras. A peaceful and prosperous era was unfolding. Madara was both impressed and a little envious. Heh, Chen Yiban chuckled, passing by. They stood atop the tallest building, overlooking the nation and its people. Hey, wanna give this place a name? Madara suddenly asked Chen Yiban. A name? Chen Yiban hadn't considered it. Eternity. Madara declared, smiling. What do you think? Heck yeah. Eternity sounds awesome. Hashirama's voice chimed in. Besides. Tobirama. Izuna and Tobirama were already bickering. Ever since his resurrection, Izuna and Tobirama were at odds. Of course, Tobirama was no match for Izuna, especially with the Sharingan and Rinnegan, Flying Thunder God, Sage Mode, and even a portion of the 6 Paths power. A quick glance revealed Tobirama with a bruised nose and swollen face. Izuna, don't go too far. Tobirama snapped. Ha! Izuna scoffed. Then, turning to Chen Yiban and Madara, his smile became warm. Big bro, what are you talking about? Oh, Madara wants to call the country Eternity. What do you think, Izuna? Chen Yiban said with a smile. Eternity. I love it. Izuna nodded enthusiastically. Is that so? Chen Yiban pondered, then looked at the others. Then, let's call it Eternity. The group approached the building's edge, where the people below cheered, recognizing their leaders. Madara, congratulations, Hashirama said, a knowing smile on his face. I will protect this country forever. The eternal country. Madara declared, his Rinnegan gleaming with determination, and so, in the Eternal Kingdom, under the guidance of these powerful individuals, the ninja world's hatred began to fade. 10 years later, Chen Yiban left the ninja world for another Naruto timeline. Chapter 1 Answer Me. Are you willing? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ninja Art, Summoning Jutsu. Times End. Dozens of past Kage from the ninja world simultaneously performed the summoning jutsu. The Sage of 6 Paths had summoned them from the spiritual realm to the mortal plane as spiritual bodies. He needed their help to return Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Kakashi, who had successfully sealed Kagaya and Black Zetsu in Otsutsuki Kagaya's original dimension, to their own world. With the combined chakra of the 5 Kage and dozens of past powerhouses, whoosh in an instant, just like in the original storyline, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, Kakashi, and Haruno Sakura found themselves back in their familiar ninja world, and even Uchiha Madara, whom Kagaya had expelled from her dimension right before her complete sealing, was there too. However, in this timeline, Uchiha Madara was a shadow of his former self. He had lost the 10 tails and was practically at death's door, his hair a tangled mess against the soiled ground. This dying Madara Uchiha evoked an unexpected sense of tragedy. Meanwhile, Uzumaki Naruto was celebrating their victory over Otsutsuki Kagaya, with Kakashi, Minato, and even the 9-tailed beasts, and Uchiha Sasuke, remained silent, presumably plotting his revolution. just like before, Jen paid little attention to the dying Uchiha Madara, not for a moment, until, tap, tap, Hashirama Senju slowly approached the pathetic, dying Uchiha Madara, whose hair was strewn across the ground. Hashirama. Madara croaked, his voice barely audible. Yeah, Hashirama Senju replied softly, gazing at his former best friend on the brink of oblivion. Hashirama, my dream, it's shattered. Even Madara's eyes were filled with weakness and despair, yet, there was a strange, haunting beauty in it all. Just then Uzumaki Naruto, Kakashi, and the other Kage realized that Uchiha Madara wasn't quite dead yet. Uchiha Sasuke moved to finish him off once and for all. But the Sage of Six Paths raised his staff, stopping Sasuke in his tracks. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and Six-Tomo Rinnegan, briefly glaring at the Sage of Six Paths. Then, he relented. Hashirama Senju looked down at Uchiha Madara, his expression a mixture of emotions. Madara, you rush things too much. The future should be entrusted to these younger ones. I believe things will eventually get better. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara mustered a weak smile. Hashirama, you're still, so naive. But maybe, that's the right way. As he spoke, Uchiha Madara grew weaker and weaker. He was on the verge of death, barely able to keep his eyes open. Maybe we can share a drink together as friends in another world, free from worry, Hashirama Senju said with a wistful smile. All around, surrounded by the Sage of Six Paths, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, the Kage, and even the resurrected past Kage in their spiritual forms, and the nine-tailed beasts who had just escaped Kage's grasp. Everyone watched the final exchange between Hashirama Senju and Uchiha Madara in this world. We, too. Uchiha Madara gasped, barely clinging to life, his eyelids fluttering closed. Are you willing? Suddenly, a voice echoed from all directions, seemingly from another dimension. Huh? Everyone was taken aback, even the Sage of Six Paths frowned slightly. The next second, bang asterisk. Something slammed into Hashirama Senju, sending him flying. His body was nearly shattered as he crashed into a massive sacred tree hundreds of meters away. Then, tap, tap, a severe figure in a black robe, with hair as long and wild as the Uchiha Madara on the ground, slowly approached the dying man. You. Seeing the newcomer, Uchiha Madara's eyes widened in surprise and confusion. His eyes, which were about to close forever, seemed to snap back open in shock, though he was still incredibly weak and close to death. Likewise. That's. How is that possible? Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, Kakashi, the nine-tailed beasts, the past Kage, and even the Sage of Six Paths, all wore expressions of disbelief, because another Madara? In Six Paths Sage mode, Uzumaki Naruto stared at the figure standing beside Uchiha Madara and exclaimed in astonishment. The one who had arrived to stand beside the dying Uchiha Madara was Chen Yiban, the creator of Madara. He had left the Eternal Kingdom, dimension, and somehow found himself in another Naruto timeline, or a parallel universe. What the hell? The dying Madara Uchiha tried to ask what was happening, but he was too weak to even form a coherent sentence. He simply stared at Chen Yiban, a flicker of disbelief in his eyes. I ask, are you willing? Chen Yiban, embodying the essence of Madara, coldly addressed the Uchiha Madara lying on the ground. Uchiha Madara's pupils dilated as he gazed up at the figure. Meanwhile, the revived Hashirama was regenerating his body and returning to the scene. He too, was stunned to see two Uchiha Madara before him. Wait, is Madara running a fever? Among the dirt pillars, all kinds of speculations ran through his mind. Everyone else was equally confused. Was the Madara Uchiha who had been possessed by Kagaya not his true self? But that didn't make sense either. Could Kagaya Otsutsuki truly be resurrected using a clone? What was going on? I ask, are you willing? Answer me now. Chen Yiban's voice was like ice, and a pair of scarlet, Mangekyo Sharingan, blazed in his eyes. I. Uchiha Madara seemed to be drawing upon the last vestiges of his life force, until I'm so pumped. I won't give in. Uchiha Madara, with the last ounce of strength in his body, roared those words, the final words of his life as Uchiha Madara, at Chen Yiban. Then, he would die completely. Very good. Snap, Chen Yiban grinned savagely and roared. At the same time, he slammed his left hand down on Uchiha Madara's heart. And his right hand, combined with Uchiha Madara's, formed the 6 paths, Ten-Tails Coffin seal, together, boom *. Ugh. Ah. Madara Uchiha roared in agony. Chapter 2. The protagonist of the original drama cheats, we can do it too. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Yiban locked onto Uchiha Madara, grabbing his left hand. 6 paths, Ten-Tails Coffin seal, that he slammed his left hand against Madara's heart. Ten-Tails Sacred Tree, Attachment, System Grid, number 77, Ten-Tailed Sacred Tree x4. Now, System Grid number 77, Ten-Tailed Sacred Tree times 3. Ugh. Ah. Madara's agonizing roar ripped through the air. Chen Yiban's right hand completed the Ten-Tailed Coffin seal, with Madara, while from his left hand, a surge of the massive Ten-Tailed Sacred Tree poured into Madara's heart and body. This was about regaining power from near death. Madara screamed in pain. You! Boom *. Madara's chakra exploded outward. Naruto and the others watched in stunned disbelief. Damn it, stop him. Sasuke, using his heavenly hand power, instantly appeared next to Chen Yiban, ready to strike with Yin Chidori, but bang, an unseen force slammed Sasuke away. Sasuke flew back, blood trickling from his mouth, as he looked back in shock. Dozens of shadows, almost identical to Madara, now guarded Chen Yiban and Madara. That's Madara Uchiha's Limbo, Hengoku. Naruto sensed it too, but wrong. It's not the same. Why are there so many more shadows than Madara ever had? Naruto felt it. There were over a dozen limbo shadows, 16. The Sage of 6 Paths, with his Rinnegan, could see clearly and frowned, his expression grave. Nearby, the 9-tailed beasts felt a sudden, inexplicable fear. Then, Zing Madara re-equipped his 6 Paths outer garb, whoosh 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 .9 black orbs appeared behind him, along with a 6 Paths Shikujo staff in his hand. The lavender Rinnegan, the scarlet 9-tomo Rinne Sharingan, 3 eyes blazing with power. As Madara stood again, boom *, the power of the Ten-Tails erupted. He became it again. Sakura looked on in horror as Madara became the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki and activated the infinite Tsukimi again. What the? Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, and the others stared in disbelief. What in the world? The Sage of 6 Paths was stunned. The Ten-Tailed Sacred Tree and Kaguya were supposed to be sealed away again. Why was Madara becoming the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki again? It seemed the aura of a second Ten-Tailed Sacred Tree was emanating from the left hand of the other Madara. How was that even possible? The Sage of 6 Paths was completely bewildered. Meanwhile, not only had he survived, but he was the Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki again, wielding immense power. Madara was in disbelief. The 16 limbo shadows surrounding him caused Madara to stare at Chen Yiban, this near-identical version of himself, with a hint of bewilderment. It's not over yet. Chen Yiban, with his own 6-tomo Rinnegan now activated, aimed a fist at Madara. Seeing this, Madara, now reincarnated in his 6 Paths form, glanced at Chen Yiban's 6-tomo Rinnegan, paused for a moment, and then gave his doppelganger a deep look. Finally, he chose to meet the fist. Thud. The two Madaras bumped fists. Chen Yiban smiled, in his mind Information, items, transfer, information selected, Sage Mode Mastery. Truth-Seeking Ball Creation, Flying Thunder God Technique Mastery, Underworld Turnover, Rasengan Series Mastery, Abilities and Mastery of the 9-Tailed Beasts, Memory Information of the Eternal Kingdom. Item Selection, Mangekyo Sharingan Technique, Tsukimi, Mangekyo Sharingan Technique, Kamui, Optimized. Rinnegan technique, heavenly hand power, optimized, I power sublimation, seal power, absolute immunity, Items and information selected successfully, delivery starts, to the outside world. It seemed like only a moment had passed. Madara bumped fists with Chen Yiban, then looked at Chen Yiban again, a look of utter surprise on his face. Me, from another world? Eternal Kingdom. How could another world be so beautiful? Clutching the six-path Shikujo staff, Madara smiled wryly, then, in an instant, whoosh star. He entered Sage mode. Massive amounts of natural energy poured into Madara's body, causing gold pigmentation to appear around his Rinnegan, a true sage's face, Ten-Tails Sage mode. Unfortunately, the will of this world had chosen Naruto, and the six-path Sage mode belonged only to him, therefore, Madara lacked the world will boost. But, the complete Ten-Tails plus his own Sage mode more than compensated. Madara, don't make the same mistake again. Hashirama, ignoring Chen Yiban for the moment, wanted to reason with Madara first. To this, Madara, looking back at Hashirama with a cruel smile, said. Hashirama, I still refuse to yield. At the same moment, zing star, his ordinary Rinnegan sublimated into the 6-tomo Rinnegan, and whoosh 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 star. 8 more limbo shadows appeared next to Madara, adding to the 16 from Chen Yiban, total, 24 limbo shadows. Seeing this, Sasuke was shocked. Naruto couldn't see them, but he could sense the number of limbo shadows and was immediately filled with disbelief. The situation is completely out of control, the Sage of Six Paths said, his brow furrowed. Thank you, other me. Madara said to Chen Yiban. Let me see your next choice. Chen Yiban replied with a cold smile. In response, bang, star, using his heavenly hand power, Madara reached out and pulled Sasuke in before kicking him away. Pfft. Sasuke spat out blood and flew away. Madara grinned. Can do. Chapter 3. If I can kill you once, I can kill you twice. Sasuke. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sasuke. Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi, and everyone else watched in horror as Madara sent Sasuke flying with a mysterious attack, causing him to cough up blood. Whoosh, star. In a flash, Naruto, in his six-path Sage mode, sped over and caught Sasuke as he spat out blood. He immediately began channeling the power of the six paths to heal Sasuke's injuries. After a moment. Sasuke, that technique. As he healed Sasuke, Naruto hesitated, clearly shaken. It's my heavenly hand power. Sasuke said, wiping the blood from his mouth, his Rinnegan and Sharingan eyes fixed on Madara and Chen Yiban. But, why did he use Sasuke's ability from your left eye? Naruto was bewildered. I don't know. But Naruto, be extra careful. I have a feeling. Madara's heavenly hand power has a longer reach than mine. Sasuke frowned, clearly concerned. What? Naruto was even more shocked. Madara really is a disaster. Tobirama was shocked and filled with regret. He bitterly regretted that when his brother, Hashirama, spoke his last words to the dying Madara, why hadn't he just finished him off right then and there? Now look what happened. He didn't know what Madara had gotten from that other Madara Uchiha, but he seemed more powerful than ever, and now, a Sage mode facial pattern was appearing on his face. It was clear he had independently entered Sage mode and could absorb natural energy. Even without the Rinnegan or the power of the Ten-Tails, with the power of the previous Mangekyo Sharingan, plus the current Sage mode, he might be as strong as Hashirama. This was really, really bad. Damn it. Tobirama regretted not finishing off Madara when he had the chance, but, Tobirama didn't know, even if he had killed Madara then, Chen Yiban could just resurrect him, so, it wouldn't have mattered. Now, Madara had a pair of 6-tomo Rinnegan and a 9-tomo Rinne Sharingan. The three eyes pulsed with an immense power, gripping his six-path staff, he stared at Naruto and Sasuke. I'll deal with these two. The others. Madara, with his three eyes, glanced at Chen Yiban, who also possessed a pair of 6-tomo Rinnegan, and trailed off. Leave them to me. Chen Yiban said with a smirk. Then, I have nothing to worry about. Madara launched himself toward Naruto and Sasuke, in response. Madara, haven't you woken up yet after being absorbed by Kaguya? Seeing Madara charging at him, Naruto shouted. It's not your place to lecture me. Madara replied coldly, then, whoosh, 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 Madara sent several truth-seeking balls flying toward Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto, watch out for his heavenly hand power, Sasuke warned, his six-tomo Rinnegan focused, he was worried Madara would swap places with the truth-seeking balls and catch them off guard. I know. Just don't let them get close, Naruto said, his eyes firm. Boil release, unrivaled strength. Naruto channeled the power of the five tails, Kokuo, boom, powerful steam, infused with six paths chakra, slammed into the truth-seeking balls, but, swish, Madara had already activated heavenly hand power, swapping places with one of the truth-seeking balls, and boil release, unrivaled strength. Having switched places, Madara, in Ten-Tails Sage mode, launched a punch just like Naruto, bang, bang, their unmatched strength collided, almost completely canceling each other out. How is this happening? Why does Madara even have the abilities of Kokuo? Naruto was stunned. Madara, even as a Ten-Tails Jinchuuriki, never possessed the abilities of the nine-tailed beasts. Why now? It must be because of that other Madara. Sasuke said, glancing at Chen Yiban, at the same time, sensing Madara was now within range of his heavenly hand power, but the limbo shadow was still too far away. Swish, Sasuke immediately acted, using heavenly hand power to swap places with a stone behind Madara. The moment he appeared behind Madara, he once again condensed the Chidori in his hand, preparing to strike a decisive blow, aiming for Madara's heart. Swish, suddenly, a limbo, Madara appeared in front of Sasuke, guarding Madara's back, clang, the Chidori was blocked by the black rod held by the limbo clone, and then Blood Ice, the limbo clone, with its six-tomo Rinnegan, activated its Mangekyo Sharingan ability, zing, Sasuke suddenly felt like he was trapped in a bottomless ice pit, an unbearable cold gripped his entire body. He realized, with a jolt, his blood was almost frozen solid. If he hadn't had some residual power of the six paths, he might have turned into an ice corpse in an instant. Although he didn't immediately freeze to death, Sasuke's bodily functions were slowing down due to the frigid blood, and so, thunk, Madara, twirling the six-path staff, plunged the sharp end straight into Sasuke's heart. Instantly, Sasuke coughed up blood, mixed with shards of ice. Sakura, Kakashi, and the others screamed in horror. Madara. Hashirama and even the Sage of Six Paths moved to intervene, but, step, Chen Yiban, Rinnegan blazing, stood in their path. Your opponent is me. Chen Yiban said with a menacing grin, whoosh, 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 a dozen limbo clones appeared next to Chen Yiban. You. The Sage of Six Paths stared at Chen Yiban, who commanded a full 16 limbo shadows, fear in his eyes. I, Madara, can kill you once, and I can kill you twice, Sasuke. Madara twisted the staff, driving the sharp end deeper into Sasuke's heart. He looked back at the dying Sasuke, and spoke with a chilling finality.